Niggas beneath me don't got no business even in my conversation.
At all.
I'm a champion. Where you at?
The only champion in the DMV at 130.
The only champion in DMV.
Even though Tank doesn't fight Lamont Roach until March of next year, things are getting hot. Just hours ago, Bill Haney went all out on Tank, and now even Edgar Berlanga wants to fight Tank too. And that's just the beginning. We need to catch you up on what's been going on since Tank and Lamont Roach got into a heated argument.
Rematch clause, people, so get ready for 2 fights. But yes, and after I beat him the second time, I probably would ask the WBA to let me go up to 140 and fight.
Now, the heavyweight from Baltimore is set to defend his title against the current WBA super featherweight champion, Lamont Roach. In March, Roach will be up in weight for the fight. Before it was pushed back 3 months, the fight was supposed to happen in December. But Roach has already spoken out against Tank, telling TMZ Sports that he hopes to get the stoppage.
DC and Baltimore don't fuck with each other.
Yeah, they don't. One thing about it, the city gonna show up.
I'm in the zone. I'm stuck. A lot of people will be shocked and surprised when I win. I want to beat Tank, who doesn't want to get knocked out and win. I will train for it no matter what happens. If it goes to 12, 10, 8, or 1, I will train to make sure I can knock him out in any round.
Everybody seen the 2 fights. Both our fights is on YouTube, so everybody know that it never got bad for me with nobody in the fucking ring, regardless. And if you want to go into the vault, my father got tapes of us spawn.
This is where things get hot. Lamont Roach Jr. doesn't just want to win. He wants to take Tank's head off, and he's been saying it loud and clear on social media. On the flip side, Gervonta Davis is watching Roach with the same words he put out on social media. I tell you not to talk so much, it can be bad for you. You know that already. Though, yo, Tank tweeted, and if you remember, the follow-up was even colder. Say nothing. That's all. 2 words. Quiet can be louder.
Boxer. But everybody be talking shit to Gervonta, it don't be coming out good for them, my nigga. I'm just keeping it real.
Their past adds gasoline to the fire. Back in their amateur days, the two were at the top of their game, fighting it out at the Junior Olympics and the National Championships. To final records, Davis beat Roach in both meetings, but controversy shadowed those fights. Points were deducted on both sides, and Roach has never fully agreed with the results. I don't think he should have won. Roach admitted, though he respects the scoring system, their rivalry was 1 and 2 in the country back then. Now it's about being number 1 in the world. The fight news wasn't without backlash. Fans were quick to criticize the matchup, blaming Davis of cherry-picking Roach, who isn't even a full lightweight. But here's where Roach flips. The narrative is that he knows people question him. He knows the words about him being undersized or not ready, and he's owning it, saying he's definitely different. He's world-class, just like I am. That MF can fight. I know what I'm capable of. I'm one of them, so why not show the world? For him, it's not just about proving he fits. It's about stealing the spotlight from the guy who's never lost.
Whether he's a champion or not, you're getting a guy lighter than you to come up and wait to make you look good again.
Davis, on the other hand, seems unfazed while Roach dives into the underdog part with confidence. Davis keeps the aura of certainty. His 30 records speak louder than words. His 28 knockouts tell you why people don't bet against him, and yet he's taking this fight seriously. Tank doesn't do soft touches, even if the critics label this fight as one he knows. Roach has grown since their amateur days, and he knows what's at stake.
Reaction to Tank fighting Mr. Roach, Lamont Roach.
I mean, I think the online reaction is a little bit unfair. Like, everybody hates the fight, but Lamont Roach is a good fighter. Like, it's not like, but the problem is no one knows who he is. And I think with, you know, Tank's position in the sport, people want him to be in the big fights, and it's not a big fight. But Lamont Roach is a good fighter. Like, and if you know your boxing, you know it's a good fight, but he is a super.
Roach has been building up the fight as a war. I'm going to shock a lot of people, he promised. And it's not just talk. Roach thinks he has the tools to make Tank uncomfortable. Speed, accuracy, and a touch of chaos, that's the formula he's bringing. But let's not forget the giant in the room. Tank's power. Roach himself admitted he wasn't really like a deadly knockout puncher or anything like that when we were kids. Now he's a monster.
See, and Baltimore guys don't like each other.
You know what I mean? So,
It was a DC guy that I got into it with.
Oh,
You know what I mean? So one of the older guys named Dana.
A knockout artist who stops fights before they begin. However, even with all this fire, there's one person who sees this fight as well as an easy day for Tank. Bill Haney has never been shy about sharing his opinion on Tank, and his latest comments have stirred up even more heat. Speaking in an interview with Vlad TV, Haney Sr. did not hold back, describing Davis as a fighter who avoids real opponents and downplaying the upcoming matchup against Lamont Roach. The Tank isn't looking for problems. He's looking for easy paydays, Bill fired. It's clear he isn't pleased with the Davis versus Roach fight, and why would he be? To Haney, this is just another case of Davis steering clear of fighters who pose a real threat. When is he going to fight someone? He said, mocking Tank's Joseph opponents. The sarcasm in his voice was heavy, almost daring Davis to react.
We already ready to go to 40, bro.
Inside the weight classes, when we move it, just like niggas is moving now, brother, if it's too hot at 30, we already ready to go.
The Haney-Davis feud isn't new. It's been a fight of words, insults, and near physical altercations since late 2023. It escalated when Devin Haney publicly called Davis __, igniting a fire that hasn't been put out. Gervonta reacted by belittling Haney after his defeat to Ryan Garcia, and even a leaked video of a sparring session between the two at Floyd Mayweather's gym added fuel to the fire. The tension boiled over during a meeting outside a Las Vegas club in June where the two camps nearly came to blows. Now Bill Haney has stepped into the spotlight, taking shots at Davis for dodging bigger obstacles.
Oh! Competition breeds greatness, and Gervonta Tank Davis proves he is not great.
The Cash App.
For Bill Lamont, Roach isn't the name he wants to hear linked with Gervonta. While Roach is the WBA super featherweight champion, Haney Sr. questioned his credibility. I haven't even heard much about this fight, have you? He said, pretending to forget that the fight is planned for March 1, 2025. It was originally slated for December, but the delay hasn't added any value to Haney's view. He made it clear that he doesn't see Roach as a real threat, dismissing the bout as just another soft touch for Tank.
Man, knock it off, Calvin. Man, get off of Twitter, man, and knock it off, man. If you the face of boxing, then send over something, man. You know what I'm saying? Something respectful like you really...
Bill Haney's real frustration comes from what he perceives as a consistent pattern. Davis has been cherry-picking opponents and dodging the fighters everyone wants to see him face. Fighters like Devin Haney, Shocker Stevenson, and Vasily Lomachenko, and is Tank going to fight someone who can really test him? Bill pressed, it's not just about tanking, it's about the quality of those wins. Haney Sr. thinks that Davis is deliberately staying away from fights that could tarnish his perfect 30-0 record. The topic of Shocker Stevenson came up during the chat, and Haney was blunt. That fight will not happen, not with a Tank. He doesn't want that smoke. For Haney, Stevenson represents the type of opponent Davis is avoiding, a skilled tactical fighter with the potential to reveal weaknesses, and while Haney admitted that a Davis versus Stevenson bout would be a good fight, he doesn't think it will ever become a reality. I'd give it 50-50, he said, acknowledging Stevenson's abilities while gently jabbing at Tank's reluctance.
Yeah, cause my son, hey listen, cause my son will knock that nigga out. Cause my son will knock Tank the fuck out. That's why you don't know no word.
Haney also took a moment to dismiss the hype around Davis's win over Frank Martin, while many saw it as a dominant effort. Dill wasn't pleased. Oh my god. When is he going to fight someone? He scoffed, doubling down on his claim that Tank's record is padded with fighters who don't belong in the ring with him. The tension between Haney and Davis is emotional and professional. Dill Haney isn't just a bystander, he's Devin's biggest friend, strategist, and promoter. His criticisms of Tank aren't just about boxing. They're about defending his son's reputation. Devin Haney, the undisputed lightweight champion at the time of his feud with Davis, has long been wanting a fight with Tank.
Go ahead, put your son the fuck out. Tank Davis would knock Devin the fuck out. Tank would knock your ass dog Devin out. Tank Davis would knock Devin the fuck out.
But the two sides have never been able to agree on terms, leaving fans wondering if the dream matchup will ever happen. Tank is avoiding real fighters for a reason, he said. And that reason, according to him, is fear of losing, fear of being exposed, fear of going into the ring with fighters like Devin or Shocker, who won't fold under pressure.
I don't want to feel like no bully, man. You know what I'm saying? So to all the Tank Davis fans and all that, you know what I'm saying? Doing a great job. Listen, man, I don't know, man. You know what I mean? What do we do? Because he's feeling like a bully because they saying everything. He's seeming like he's scared, Zap. You know this business. You know when the millions is on.
Gervonta Davis, the story is different. His team has claimed that scheduling conflicts and injuries have limited his choices, leaving fighters like Roach as the best available opponents. And while Davis has never openly responded to Bill Haney's accusations, his actions speak louder than words. Tank continues to sell out arenas, rack up knockouts, and build his name as one of boxing's biggest stars. Whether his opponents meet Bill Haney's standards is another question entirely, but Bill isn't buying it. To him, Davis's star power is built on carefully chosen fights and a calculated avoidance of risks. He's not fighting the best, Bill decided he's fighting the easiest. It's a harsh critique, but one that echoes the frustrations of many fans who are tired of waiting for the blockbuster matchups boxing seems unable to deliver. The clock is ticking as Davis prepares for his March showdown with Lamont Roach. The spotlight will stay on his choices inside and outside the ring, and for Bill Haney, the war of words is far from over. However, as much as Bill Haney thinks Tank is avoiding Shocker himself has said that the fight is almost happening. Doubters may have their opinions about Gervonta Tank, Davis's current choice of opponents, but there's a possible fight looming on the horizon that could silence the doubters. Stevenson is confident that he and Tank are meant to face off.
Bill Haney, in an interview with Radio Raheem, stated that the reason Tank Davis did not accept the vacant elevated belt was for him to avoid all his mandatories and not give the opportunity for another boxer to become great if he believed he is great.
This isn't just wishful thought. Stevenson has stated that talks between his team and Davis's camp have already taken place, while the deal hasn't been finalized. Stevenson stays optimistic. I already know that at the end of the day that fight is going to happen. Stevenson told IFL TV fans, "They just got to wait until whatever Tank says the fight is going to happen." It's clear, Shocker respects the business side of things, but thinks the fight is inevitable. The fight between Stevenson and Davis has all the makings of a blockbuster.
Boxing.
Yeah.
Me and Tank the biggest fight.
That's the one.
It's the biggest fight in the world.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna be the biggest boxing fight in the world when it happens.
Both fighters are perfect. Stevenson sits at 22-0 with 10 knockouts, while Davis boasts an imposing 30-0 record with a staggering 28 knockouts. Love him or hate him, Stevenson has already proven himself as one of the slickest, most skilled fighters in the game. Tank at 30 is the division's knockout artist, known for ending fights in dramatic fashion. A meeting between the two would be a collision of styles. Stevenson's precision and IQ versus Davis's strength and explosiveness. Of course, Davis has his March bout with Lamont Roach to take care of first, but should something disrupt those plans, or should Tank look for a bigger test in 2025? Stevenson is ready. He's made it clear that he's up for the fight, even teasing his faith in how it would go down. "I can't give up my recipe. I can't give up my game plan. People just have to tune in and watch," Stevenson said, smiling as if he already knows the result. But Stevenson isn't just sitting around waiting for a Tank. He has his own business to handle, with talks heating up for a fight against William Zepeda. Zepeda manager Oscar de la Hoya has been hyping his fighter as the one to finally put a blemish on Stevenson's record.
Definitely one.
Do you think that's gonna be your hardest fight?
Hell no.
Nah?
Wow.
Cause he a good boxer, nigga. Like that's when I look at y'all two as the best in the division.
How? Show me something that he did spectacular. Show me something that he did outrageous. Show me.
Right,
his power not outrageous.
Okay.
What defense?
You think he got defense?
Stevenson, though, isn't losing any sleep over the talk. I mean, de la Hoya is just saying what he's meant to say. Stevenson joked, but he's been very hesitant for Stevenson. The story doesn't add up. He asks why. As the champion, he's the one chasing down his mandatory challenger. "Why am I the champion? And I got to ask the designated challenger. Let's fight. If you're necessary, you should be the one screaming from me."
Sure that I'm on top of my game because there's a lot of great fighters in the division. Even though I think the division was overrated because they wasn't fighting each other. But now that they fighting each other, there's a lot of great fighters. And
The idea of Stevenson taking on Davis has fans talking. It's a fight that could define the lightweight class and give the sport one of its biggest nights in years. Stevenson acknowledges that Tank calls the shots when it comes to scheduling. "You just have to sit there and wait until he says, 'Let's fight,'" Stevenson said, emphasizing patience. But when that day comes, Shocker isn't planning to be just another name on Davis's resume. But perhaps the most interesting development is the cooking fight with Edgar Berlanga. Edgar Berlanga has made a wild proposition. He wants to drop down to a 150-pound catchweight to face Tank. in 2025. It's an idea that has left fans scratching their heads and foes shaking theirs. Berlanga, known more for his early knockout streak than for his recent performances, seems to be chasing headlines more than genuine challenges.
50, but I still, no, I would give Tank a 10% edge on him, man. 60-40.
Listen, I'm gonna step out of this conversation because of the power.
Yeah, because of the power. You know what I'm saying? I want to see how he deal with it. I want to see.
27 years old, Berlanga claims he's ready to take extreme measures to shed the weight necessary for the bout. He referenced rapper 50 Cent's extreme fasting diet as motivation for how he plans to cut nearly 40 pounds from his super middleweight frame. "I'll go on a fasting diet like 50 Cent did, and we'll make the fight happen at 150 pounds, Berlanga stated the plan is, as he describes it, to involve quickly dropping weight and then rehydrating back to a monstrous size, likely in the 170 pounds range for fight night. The thought of the 61 Berlanga towering over the 55 Davis is almost cartoonish, but Berlanga seems to think it's a real possibility for context. Berlanga has been fighting at 168 pounds and supposedly rehydrated to nearly 190 pounds for his recent fight against Canelo Alvarez. That fight, held at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, was supposed to be Berlanga's big moment. Instead, it was a disaster. Berlanga lost decisively, fighting cautiously and drawing criticism for a performance that seemed more focused on surviving than winning. Dropped in the third round, he never truly recovered and was widely panned for failing to take risks, especially given the stakes and the payday that loss to Canelo, a lucrative, may have diminished Berlanga's already limited popularity outside of small pockets. In New York City, Berlanga's star power in the US is minimal. His earlier reputation as a knockout artist faded when he began struggling against fringe contenders and veterans well past their prime. Victories over the likes of Patard Makui, Alexis Angulo, and Steve Rolls were enough to secure him the Canelo fight, but they did little to convince fans that Berlanga was a serious threat in the super middleweight division. So why target Tank Davis? It's no secret that Davis is one of the biggest draws in boxing. A fight against Tank guarantees attention, a packed arena, and a sizable payday, but the idea of Davis, who has spent most of his career at lightweight and recently ventured into super lightweight, agreeing to face a much larger opponent at a 150-pound catchweight seems implausible. Davis has built his career on calculated risks, balancing high-profile fights with manageable obstacles. Facing Berlanga, who would likely rehydrate to well over 170 pounds, doesn't align with that plan, even if the size disparity wasn't a problem. Berlanga's lack of widespread fan appeal makes the fight a hard sell. Unlike Ryan Garcia, who brought a huge social media following and mainstream attention to his fight with Tank, Berlanga doesn't have the same pull. His performances against low-tier opposition and his loss to Canelo haven't helped his cause. The boxing world still remembers how Berlanga struggled to finish his fights after his infamous 16-fight first-round knockout streak came to a stop. It became clear that Berlanga's power wasn't as fearsome as promised, and his skill set left much to be desired. Berlanga's callout of Tank is part of a bigger pattern. Following his loss to Canelo, he has openly targeted several big-name fighters, including Anthony Joshua, Daniel Dubois, Haim Monjo, and Jermall Charlo. The list is ambitious, but it also hints at a desperation to stay current. Berlanga has positioned himself as a fight hustler, chasing the biggest names for the biggest paychecks without necessarily earning those chances through consistent performances. For Tank, the Berlanga plan likely won't even make it onto his radar. Davis is coming off a great win over Frank Martin and is set to face Lamont Roach in March. Beyond that, potential superfights against Shocker Stevenson or Devin Haney are far more enticing and lucrative choices for the Baltimore knockout artist than Berlanga, who brings little to the table in terms of prestige or fan interest, would be a step backward for Tank. The truth is that Berlanga's career is at a crossroads. After the Canelo loss, he needs to rebuild his credibility and show that he's more than just hype, but that may not happen anytime soon. But again, as for now, we don't know if the fight with Lamont Roach will happen either. But what do you think? Share your ideas below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more updates. See you in the next one.